Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
दादाजी प्रणाम
माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम।
प्रणाम माताजी।
Pranam. Okay.
हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी।
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Oh, Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Congratulations.
थैंक यू।
I think I have to read your name again. Samapya
सुरम्या सुरम्या
Ramya Madhavi.
माधवी देवीदासी।
Wow. What does it mean?
सुरम्या इज वृंदावन रम्य स्थान, so that is रम्य, सुरम्य।
Congratulations Mataji.
थैंक यू प्रभु।
Hey, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayaudirayet Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 12, verse number 15. Okay, whoever wants to read the verse can please raise your hands.
माताजी, it is to number 11, no chapter.
Yes, it's 11.
11. Thank you. Verse 15. Hare Krishna. Okay, Chitra Mohini Mataji, go ahead, please.
Yes, माताजी। 15 माताजी या 16?
16.
16.
16
Verse 15 or verse 16? What am I doing today?
16.
16 Mataji.
16.
Okay, I'm oriented now, I think. Thank you.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नायावदेतामनन् आत्मलिंगं संसारतापावपनं जनस्य यच्चोकमोहमया रागलोभा वैरानुबन्धं ममतां विधत्ते। हरे कृष्ण। थैंक यू।
Thank you. Anjali Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। न यावत् एतत् मन आत्मलिंगं संसारतापावपनं जनस्य यच्छोकमोहामयरागलोभ वैरानुबन्धं ममतां विधत्ते। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you. Venkat Narsimha Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। न यावदेतन्मन आत्मलिंगम न संसारतापावपनं जनस्य यच्छोकमोह मायरागलोभ वैरानुबन्धं ममतां विधत्ते। हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
Thank you, Krishna. Madhumay Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नायावदेतन् मन आत्मलिंगं संसारतापा अवपनं जनस्य यत् शोकमोह आमया रागलोभा वैरानुबन्धं ममतां विधत्ते।
Thank you,
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Madhu Soni Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। दंडवत प्रणाम।
Navina.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय न यावदेतन्मन आत्मलिंगं संसारतापवपनं जनस्य यक्षोक मोहमय रागलोभ वैरानुबंधं ममतां विद्यते। थैंक यू माताजी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Krishna. Shubha Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Navina.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय न यावदेतन्मव आत्मलिंगं संसारतापावपनं जनस्य यच्छोकमोहामयरागलोभा वैरानुबन्धं mamatam vidhante. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. Prafulla Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम माताजी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नयावदेतन्मनमात्मलिङ्गं संसारताप अवपन्नं जस्य जनस्य जच्छोकमोहमयरोगलोभ वैरानुबन्धे ममता विद्धत्ते हरे कृष्ण माताजी थैंक यू माताजी
Thank you. Vijay Kumari Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय न यावत् एदन् मन आत्मलिंगम संसार तभावपणं जनस्य यच्चोह मोहमय रागलोभ वैराणुबन्धं ममदां विदत्ते हरे कृष्ण माता जी
Thank
थैंक यू माता जी
Krishna. न यावदेतन् मन आत्मलिङ्गं संसारतापा अपवनं जनस्य यशोकमोहामयरागलोभा वेरा अनुबन्धनं ममतां विधते. No, not yavat, as long as etat, it is this mana, mind, atmalingam, existing as the false designation of the soul. Sansarata, of the miseries of this material world. Avapanam, the growing ground. Janasya, of the living being. Yat, which. Shoka, of lamentation. Moha, of illusion. Amaya, of disease. Rag, of attachment. Lobha, of greed. Vaira, of enmity. Anubandhanam, the consequence. Mamatam, the sense of ownership. Vidhate, gives. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The soul's designation. Krishna, sorry. The mind is the cause of all tribulations in the material world. As long as this fact is unknown to the conditioned soul, he has to accept the miserable condition of the material body and wander within this universe in different positions. Because the mind is affected by disease, lamentation, illusion, attachment, greed, and enmity, it creates bondage and a false sense of intimacy within this material world. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The mind is the cause of both material bondage and liberation. The impure mind thinks, I am this body. The pure mind knows that he is not the material body. Therefore, the mind is considered to be the root of all material designations. Until a living entity is aloof from the association and contaminations of this material world, the mind will be absorbed in such material things such as birth, death, disease, illusion, attachment, greed, and enmity. In this way, the living entity is conditioned and he suffers material miseries. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjansalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Dadati Sabadantikam. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate. Saptakanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishbhanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Pasthaya, Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya Deshatayane. The soul's designation, the mind, is the cause of all tribulations in the material world. As long as this fact is unknown to the conditioned living entity, he has to accept the miserable condition of material body and wander within this universe in different positions. Because the mind is affected by disease, lamentation, illusion, attachment, greed, and enmity, it creates bondage and a false sense of intimacy within this material world. We're reading from 5th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Creative Impetus, chapter number 11, which is entitled as what? Jai Bharat is instructing King Rahugan. Now he's instructing King Rahugan. What is he instructing him about?
Mind.
So he's instructing him about that how the conditioned soul is conditioned in the material world, even though it is not supposed to be conditioned. And the root cause of this conditioning is mind, which is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. If the three modes of material nature, if the mind is, we are able to free that mind from the contamination of three modes of material nature, it regains its spiritual health. Right now it is disease with the material contamination. Work towards gaining the spiritual health. Because if you don't work towards gaining the spiritual health, then these are the consequences. What are the consequences? That the mind has material desires because it is contaminated. Right? Have you ever seen like some diseased person sometimes has hallucinations and they talk things which don't make really many sense? Have you ever experienced or heard of it?
Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Especially person who's laying in the deathbed, when we see it all the time, they speak or they see or say something which doesn't make any sense to the people around them. Why? Because it's contaminated, right? There's contamination. Or a person who is diseased is vomiting or having, cough or mucus. All these problems, which is because of the contamination. Like that, the mind is having these material desires because of the contamination of the material modes of nature. Once the material modes of nature stop acting, then it becomes healthy. And if we don't work towards regaining our spiritual health, then these are the consequences. What are the consequences? The desires and avenues increase in the material world. So it has many ideas, many plans. And then we perpetually go on trying to fulfill those ideas and plans. And then we give right to lust and greed and attachment. And then those vicious cycle, it has a domino effect, it goes on from one idea to another idea to another idea to another idea to another idea. And we actually never get happiness because, as I was explaining yesterday, what my Guru Maharaj taught, that happiness is a function of the soul, but what is an idea of happiness is actually nothing but mitigating the material distress. And once somebody is able to mitigate that material distress in a very elaborate manner, so we think that they are very happy. Right? If somebody is living in a 2-bedroom house and somebody is living in a 20-bedroom house, obviously feel the person living in a 20-bedroom house is very happy because they're so rich and they have all the amenities of life. Right? Do we think like that? Or somebody is driving a bicycle and somebody is driving a very high-end car. So we automatically have a tendency to think that the person driving a very high-end car is very happy. Yeah, do we think like that? Be honest.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mataji.
we do. I do.
Right? We think like that, right? But then according to the Shastras, that's the chakshu, that's the vision of a materially conditioned soul. But Shastra chakshu, how Vyasdev will be looking at us, or how Srila Prabhupada would be looking at us, how Srimad Bhagavatam is looking at us, is that person is so unhappy because they have to make so many elaborate arrangements externally to find happiness in so many things. Generally, people, I have not seen any very materially affluent person who does not have more than needed things in their house. So far, I have not seen. I have not seen many affluent people also, but whatever I've seen like a very grandeur, affluent richness that people have. I have seen. I've been to the house, but then the thing is that it always makes me feel that there are more things that needed. So the time is actually gone in maintaining or collecting or earning money to get those things. But we are oblivious to the fact that it's very temporary and it is not going to give happiness, right? But the material nature facilitates that idea. Right? Prabhupada says that in one of the morning walks. I have heard it too, that Prabhupada was walking with his disciples, and one of the disciples said, Prabhupada said, Manda sumanda matyo manda bhagya upadita, right? The people in Kali Yuga will have short memory, short age, very quarrelsome, right? So when they were discussing about the point of short memory, so Prabhupada, he was saying, Prabhupada, how do we understand that people in the Kali Yuga will have short memories? How is material nature facilitating that evolution of short memory in Kali Yuga as Kali Yuga is increasing? So Prabhupada said, don't you see the development of all these gadgets, computers? That time the computers were coming. Prabhupada uses the word. So then the disciple said, so, oh Prabhupada, so I understand like this, that if these memory devices or these devices are coming to store our information, it means that we are going to lose that memory from us and then store it somewhere outside. Prabhupada said, yes. And he also said, beware that it is going to increase more and more. Okay, Prabhupada said this in 1970s, and we are sitting in 2024. And now, if somebody has a very high memory device, once I went to Apple store to buy an iPad for someone else. Now I was coming to India this time. Says, okay, the person was trying to convince me to buy the highest memory Apple iPad. So it's 256 GB, 512 GB, or 800 some GB. Or you can even buy an external hard drive to, 1 TB or 2 TB like that. Yeah, and then the person who has a higher storage capacity has a idea to think that I have a very high-end device. Yes, do we think like that? Oh, iska to
Yes,
memory
Mataji.
part kam hai. So we have to understand this arrangement from the spiritual perspective, from the Shastric vision, that material nature is facilitating that idea that the mind has that this is happiness. And this is how we are making our next life. This is how we are, making plans to get, and this is how we are actually planning to get impacted by all these things which this verse is mentioning: disease, lamentation, or illusion, attachment, greed, and enmity. Okay, in every country, I give you one more example. In every country, there is something called a national security apparatus, right? India has it too, US has it too, Europe has it too. So national security apparatus. So what they do in the national security apparatus, as recently learned, is that they have people of whatever respective country it is to collect information about different adjoining border countries, that how is it impacting which area. So they have people, then they have further people who they hire, and then the detectives are hired, and then they are everywhere. They're everywhere in the country collecting information and then transmitting to these people. Now, if you sit with one of those security people, okay, it's a very secretive service, the highest level of security service of any country. They're not allowed to talk to anyone. They don't discuss these cases anywhere. But if you really understand the psychology of the people running this national security apparatus, they're very, very thick with the fact that they are from this particular country. I'm from Europe. I'm American. I'm European. I'm Indian. I'm African. Like that's very thick. And they make all plans to protect that particular tract of land where they are born, which they really, which they really, 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 really is the highest level of what do you call attachment to the earth of place where they're born. I'm not saying that we don't need such services from the government. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the government is supposed to teach us that I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But it's teaching us and do these services for the right cause. Okay, but instead, what I observed is that the people are learning that how we can be envious and generate more enmity towards other countries, and outwardly may appear to be very cordial. If you come to live in foreign countries, you will meet, externally very cordial, but internally they want you to get out of their country. So why? Because we are in very thick illusion that I'm the body, and from that illusion, a false identity is arising, and then all these lower modes of nature, feelings of enmity is arising, and also in this case, false sense of intimacy. They say, okay, I'm Indian, right? This is like an intimate feeling that person has, and that person has it for their fellow Indians or fellow Americans or European, whatever the case may be. So understand that the Shastras are always trying to turn us back to the center of our existence, which is soul, which is part of Krishna, and is always trying to tell us that what are the barriers in going to Krishna. In this case, we have had very good discussion on. When we'll revise this chapter, Krishna willing, then we'll discuss more that how mind is at the center, and it is soul's designation. So the mind is, you know, the mind is giving this label to the soul that actually I'm more powerful. Right? Let's say if you go to meet someone, they say I'm this and this, and then they themselves say I have this and this degree. I work here, and this is where my post is, and this is how influential I am. Like you only need first 5 to 10 minutes to understand that this person is like you just need 5 to 10 minutes to understand a person in the initial thing, that whether you can go on with this person for in your life, is this worth of a friendship or any relationship, or this is needs to end. So we can understand that how am I designating myself in this world? Okay, if we need to take a pause and understand that how my mind is putting up a designation. It starts with I am a male or I am a female, and then I am, a member of this family. These are my people. The other people are not my people. This is my house. This is my neighborhood. This is my country. This is my whatever education. This is who I am, and it just goes on increasing, and everything is from the infected and contaminated mind. It's amazing, right? And once that infection and contamination is removed, then one sees oneself as, oh my God, I was looking at myself in a very wrong manner. I actually belong to Krishna, and my only responsibility is to go back to Krishna and help others to go back to Krishna as well. See, if you study the life of Srila Prabhupada, we will be able to understand what a uncontaminated, pure mind means. I was listening to Prabhupada while coming back from work a few minutes ago, and Prabhupada was saying that liberated soul, it has the quality of being pure, of being full of knowledge, and of being Krishna, pure, full of knowledge. And there's one more quality that Prabhupada was saying, determined, Dridavrata, pure, full of knowledge, and determined. Okay, not like a conditioned soul, which has none of these qualities. So it is imperative that we take shelter of such a soul, such a empowering Acharya, and surrender to his lotus feet and make our life successful. We can make our life successful, We're not in an animal form of life. We're not in a plant form of life. We're not in an aquatic form of life. We're not in a bird form of life. We're in a human form of life with a very sound mind and intelligence by Krishna's mercy. And why is the intelligence and mind strong? Because we need to make it more pure, more full of knowledge, and more determined. Okay. And Prahlad Maharaj, consolidates all this in one line, that there is no other enemy other than one's own uncontrolled mind. There is no other enemy. I think we stop here. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections? Suramai Madhavi Mataji, your name means Suramai, the one who is filled with sur, like the singing, the Sangeet. Madhavi is Radharani's name. So very nicely, the beautiful girl who sings very well, Devi Dasi. That's what your name means. I just got a realization. What it means.
Mataji, is it Suramya or Suramai? This is Suramya. Suramya
Suramya.
means something
Suramai.
which is
Suramya.
beautiful. It is Suramya, not Suramai.
तो सुरम्या का मतलब क्या होता है?
Suramya का मतलब होता है which is very Ramya, means very decent picture.
Ramya.
Beautiful
Ram
scenery.
means happiness, right? Ram
Ah,
means so
yeah,
Suramya.
they call it Ramto Jogi. I mean, Ra means someone who is playing. So playing is always nice. When we play something, I was playing. When the
Okay.
operation goes well, you go out and say, "Oh, it was a nice play."
Okay, we need the meaning of your name, Mataji, by tomorrow. But Prem Prakash Adas Prabhu, I hope you are the one who's right to it. Thank you. Hey, questions, reflections, realizations, corrections, complaints.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much for such a nice explanation. I just one thing occurred to me. I don't know whether it is right or wrong, but these days we are reading many books. Not me, matlab, I have also read it long back. Rhonda Brand's written book, The Secrets, The Magic, The Power. You know what? It's all related to what we are. And when we ask the people what they want to achieve in their life, you can attract as much wealth. You can be the money magnet. You can attract whatever you want. You can attract lots of power in the life. You can attract lots of magic in your life. But if you ask anybody now, that is always related to any materialistic aspect. Thanks to Prabhupada, because of whom we have got this eyesight now. This might be converting into vision in the near future, that this materialistic achievements are nothing, but means it's the magic of having Krishna in our life that is actually the biggest blessing. So this is what occurred to me when you were explaining about the mind. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
the fantastic explanation.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Shubhara.
Mataji, the root of material designation is mind or ego, Mataji? False ego.
So we studied it earlier, right? That the ego is expansion of mind. That is why some people can count as 11 elements and some people count as 12 elements. Remember, you only asked the 4 working senses for 4 knowledge acquiring senses and mind. And then somebody says mind and false ego are one and same. And somebody says mind and false ego are 2 separate things. So either 11 or 12 elements. Remember that verse?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
So
Hare Krishna
mind
Mataji.
is the cause.
Because earlier in instance we heard that false ego is the root cause for all designations and all. So different
false
context.
ego ka matlab, false ego means false identity. Ego means identity. False ego means false identity, but it is also originating from the contaminated desires from the mind. Is that how we understand?
Well said, Mataji. Thank you. That nothing but it's an expansion of the mind. False ego is also expansion of the mind.
Right. So much so, like I'll give you an example that let's say the mind desires, the mind has this desire of drinking alcohol. Okay, it's not the desire of the tongue. It's not the desire of the brain. Addiction is not a physical element. Physical elements are secondary, but mind is deciding. Okay, so now because there is a mind which is desiring, we are going to expand our endeavor now. We're going to go and work around, earn money, find a place, study the liquors, maybe taste different kinds of things, and then find the best tasting thing, put it on the tongue, and then there is the generation of some pleasure, and the mind becomes happy, but then it goes away, and then we are sad again. So like this is how it expands. And we get cheated, repeatedly cheated. We never stop. I don't know if it made sense.
Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other question, reflection, realization, correction? Okay.